dark and spooky forest deep, there lived a monster that didn't sleep, with long sharp claws and teeth so keen, it was the scariest thing you've ever seen. Grimclaw roamed around at night with glee, hunting for prey so hungrily. He crept up to its unsuspecting foes, and then he struck with deadly blows. But one day a brave young girl did appear. Her courage and wit left Grimclaw in fear. Flower challenged him with a fierce desire, and with a loud roar, Grimclaw retired. Now Flower is the ruler of the land, with Grimclaw at her command. She keeps him locked away safe and sound, in a place where he shall never be found.
In an old and haunted house so grand, there lived a ghost who could not stand to see the living come and go, while she remained trapped in her woe. Ethel floated about the halls alone, with a mournful sigh, a pitiful moan. No one could see or hear her plea, for she was just a memory. Her heart was heavy with regret of things she wished she could forget. She longed to move on from this place, to find some peace and leave no trace. But until then, Ethel shall roam and weep. Through the halls she'll silently creep. She'll watch the living come and go, while she remains trapped in her woe. So if you ever find yourself near the old house where the ghost appears, remember to be kind and say hello to the sad ghost who can't let go.
In an old graveyard, so dark and still, there was a pile of bones, so quiet and chill. It lay there for years, untouched by light, until one day, it sprang to life. It rose up high and stood so tall, a dancing skeleton having a ball. It rattled and shook with glee in the pale moonlight so merrily. It danced among the graves and tombs with all the energy of 100 booms. Its bones clacked and clicked with rhythm and beat, and soon it had the whole graveyard on its feet. Every night it would dance and sway until the break of dawn, then fade away. But the memory of its dance would remain until the pile of bones would rise again. So if you ever find yourself near an old graveyard where the bones appear, stay a while and watch the show of the pile of bones that loves to glow.
In a small town by the sea, there lived a lady so cranky. She scowled and grumbled all day long, and the townsfolk would scurry along. One day, a crow flew into her yard and perched on a branch so bold and hard. It cawed and croaked with all its might, and the lady growled with all her spite.
"Shoo, you pesky bird, get out of my sight!"
She yelled and waved her cane with all her might. But the crow just cawed and refused to budge, and the lady's anger turned to a grudge. For days and weeks, the crow remained, and the lady's temper boiled and strained. But then, something strange began to occur. The crow's cawing turned into a sweet chirr. It sang and whistled a lovely tune, and the lady listened like a loon. Her scowl began to soften and fade, and she felt a joy she had not felt in ages. From that day on, the lady and crow were the best of friends, and everyone would know that even the crankiest of old ladies can be softened by a crow's sweet melodies.
In a dusty old library, so quiet and calm, there lived a spider with a love for books and charm. Gus crawled through the shelves with a curious eye, reading every book he could find on the sly. The spider was small, with a furry back. And he loved nothing more than to read and relax. But there was one thing that made Gus feel sad. The librarian, who was terribly afraid. Ms. Myrtle would scream and jump so high whenever the spider would come near, with a sigh. And poor little Gus would scuttle away, feeling unappreciated, with nothing to say. But one day, the spider decided to act. It would show the Ms. Myrtle that it was a fact that spiders can be friendly, and quite bookish too. If only she would give him a chance, he knew. So Gus crawled up to the librarian's desk, with a book in hand, and a brave little zest. And Ms. Myrtle, though scared at first, soon realized that the spider was not the worst. In fact, she found that the spider was quite sweet. And together they would read, with 6 little feet. And from that day on, the library was a place where the spider and the librarian shared a space. So if you're ever in a library so grand, and you see a spider with a book in its hand, don't be afraid, just give it a try. And you'll find that spiders can be quite nice.
I must warn you, dear reader, that the tale I am about to recount is one of dark shadows and sinister entities. The events I am about to describe are rooted in the chilling reality of my own experience with the supernatural. Gather your courage, for this is the story of the odd child. It was a cold winter's night when I first encountered the odd child. The wind howled outside my window, adding an eerie soundtrack to the events that were about to unfold. I had heard whispers about this enigmatic figure, a child who seemed to possess unearthly abilities. The stories described her as an embodiment of darkness, being capable of controlling the minds of those unfortunate enough to cross her path. Curiosity overcame my apprehension, and I found myself drawn to investigate this mysterious presence. The trail led me to a small, desolate town on the outskirts of civilization. The air was heavy with an unnerving silence as I entered the eerie domain of the odd child. The streets were barren, devoid of life and color. It was as if the town itself had fallen under a malevolent spell, gripped by an invisible force that drained away all signs of vitality. The houses stood like hollow shells, their windows shattered and doors hanging off their hinges. Fear gripped my heart, but a sense of purpose pushed me forward. As I wandered through the forsaken streets, a distant giggle reached my ears. It was an otherworldly sound, a melody that chilled me to my very core. I followed the sound, guided by an unseen hand towards an old, dilapidated building at the heart of the town. Inside, darkness swallowed me whole. The only source of light came from the moon, casting an eerie glow through the broken windows. The air was thick with a foul stench, a mix of decay and despair. I took cautious steps, my every breath a struggle against the oppressive atmosphere. A sudden gust of wind extinguished my only source of light, plunging me into pitch-black darkness. Panic set in, my heart racing as I groped blindly in search of an exit. That's when I heard her voice, a soft, chilling whisper that echoed through the void.
Welcome.
She said, a word slithering into my mind like a venomous serpent.
You seek me, and now you shall face the consequences.
I felt a presence, an invisible force enveloping me. It was as if 1,000 eyes were watching my every move. Desperation surged within me as I struggled against the grip of an unknown power. I had walked into her trap, and now I was at her mercy. With a flicker of movement, the odd child materialized before me. Her features were ethereal, yet twisted and distorted. Her eyes glowed with an unholy light, revealing a depth of darkness that defied comprehension. She smiled, her lips stretching unnaturally across her face, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth.
You are brave.
She hissed, her voice tinged with amusement.
Or perhaps just foolish. It matters not, for your fate is sealed.
Her words sent shivers down my spine, but I refused to surrender to the terror that threatened to consume me. With a surge of defiance, I summoned all my strength and challenged her. "What do you want from me?" I demanded, my voice quivering with a mix of fear and determination. The odd child's laughter filled the room, a chilling chorus that resonated in my soul.
I want nothing.
She replied, her voice a whisper that echoed in the darkness.
I am but a reflection of your deepest fears, a mirror to your own darkness. Embrace me, and you shall be free.
Her words struck a nerve within me. I realized then that the odd child was not merely a separate entity, but a manifestation of my own inner demons. She fed off my fears, my insecurities, and sought to consume me entirely. It was a battle against myself, a struggle to reclaim control over my own mind. Summoning every ounce of willpower, I resisted the lure of her words. I refused to succumb to the darkness that threatened to engulf me. But the odd child was relentless, unleashing a torrent of haunting visions and unsettling whispers aimed at breaking my resolve. As the onslaught intensified, I fought back with equal ferocity. I delved into the depths of my own psyche, confronting the fears that had plagued me for so long. It was a painful journey, confrontation with the darkest corners of my soul. Yet, with each fear faced and overcome, the grip of the odd child weakened. The room began to shift, the darkness receding, and a glimmer of light pierced through the cracks. The odd child's form wavered, her power waning. It was a battle of wills, and I was determined to emerge victorious. Finally, with one last surge of defiance, I shouted, "You are not real. You are but a figment of my own imagination." The odd child let out a blood-curdling scream, cry of frustration and defeat. Her form dissipated like smoke, vanishing into the abyss from whence she came. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the room was flooded with a warm, comforting light. I stood there, breathless and victorious. The odd child had been banished, and I had emerged from the depths of my own fears stronger than ever before. The town itself seemed to awaken from its dormant state, as if released from the clutches of a malevolent force. I left that accursed place, forever changed by the encounter. The odd child had been a terrifying reminder of the power that fear holds over us, but also a testament to the strength we possess within ourselves to overcome it. Years have passed since that fateful night, and I still carry the scars of the battle. But they serve as a constant reminder of the darkness I have conquered and the resilience of the human spirit. The odd child may forever linger in the shadows of my memory, but I walk in the light, unyielding in the face of fear. So, dear reader, heed my warning. Beware the lure of your own fears, for they have the power to manifest and consume you. Embrace the light within, confront your demons, and let not the odd child of your own making take hold of your soul.
There was a house at the end of the street that everyone in the neighborhood avoided. It was old and decrepit, with boarded-up windows and a crumbling exterior. But the true horror of the house lay not in its appearance, but in the presence of a mysterious figure who was said to reside within its walls. No one knew who or what the figure was, but everyone who had ever caught a glimpse of it spoke of an ominous dread that filled them. The figure was said to move in unnatural ways, its limbs twisting and contorting in impossible angles. Its face was never seen, hidden behind a dark hood or obscured by shadows. One day, a group of curious teenagers decided to explore the abandoned house. They crept past the boarded-up windows and broken door, their hearts pounding in their chests. As they made their way through the dusty interior, they heard a strange sound that seemed to be coming from deep within the house. It was a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down their spines. But their curiosity got the better of them, and they pressed on, determined to uncover the source of the sound. As they moved deeper into the house, the growling grew louder and more intense. And then, suddenly, the figure appeared before them. It was even more terrifying than they had imagined. Its limbs were twisted and gnarled, its face hidden behind a dark hood. And its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light that seemed to pierce their very souls. The teenagers tried to flee, but the figure was too fast. It chased them through the house, its growls echoing off the walls. They ran down the hallway, their hearts pounding in their chests, but the figure was always one step ahead of them. And then, suddenly, they found themselves in a room that seemed to be glowing with a strange, ethereal light. In the center of the room stood a statue of the figure, its features frozen in an expression of agony and despair. The teenagers felt a sudden sense of dread wash over them. They had stumbled upon something that they were not meant to see, and they knew that they were in grave danger. But before they could flee, the figure appeared once more. Its eyes glowed brighter than ever, and its twisted limbs seemed to grow even more distorted. And then, with a sudden burst of energy, it lunged at them. The teenagers tried to dodge out of the way, but its twisted limbs were too fast. And as they fell to the ground, they realized with horror that they were becoming twisted and distorted too. The figure had infected them with its malevolent energy, and they knew that they would never be the same again. They were doomed to spend eternity trapped within the walls of the house, twisted and contorted like the figure that had infected them. And as they screamed in terror, the figure disappeared once more into the shadows, its twisted laughter echoing through the empty halls of the abandoned house. One lone mother of one of the lost teens became obsessed, desperate to find out the secrets of the house, to know if there would be a way to bring her beloved lost child back to her. She became so distraught and so caught up in the darkness that everyone else who'd ever loved her left her. Even so, her quest to know of the darkness compelled her on. Asking questions, reading, researching, seeking. Here is what she discovered. The figure that haunts the abandoned house at the end of the street is known as the Twisted One. It is said to be the manifestation of all the pain and suffering that has taken place within the walls of the house over the years. Legend has it that the house was built on an ancient burial ground, and that the spirits of the dead were disturbed when the house was constructed. The spirits began to lash out, causing chaos and destruction within the house and tormenting anyone who dared to enter. Over time, the negative energy within the house began to coalesce into a single, malevolent entity. This entity was the Twisted One, a being made up of all the pain and suffering that had taken place within the house. The Twisted One exists to feed on negative emotions and to spread its malevolent energy to anyone who comes into contact with it. It has the ability to twist and contort the bodies of its victims, inflicting pain and suffering beyond measure. No one knows for sure how to rid the house of the Twisted One's presence, but many believe that it can only be destroyed by bringing peace to the spirits that were disturbed by the construction of the house. Others believe that the Twisted One will exist for all eternity, feeding on the pain and suffering of anyone who dares to enter its domain. As for the poor despondent mother, she gave herself over willingness to the darkness of the old house and the Twisted One, joining the other souls lost writing and wretched inside the dark and moldy walls.
Ashley and Billy, two curious teenagers seeking an adventurous thrill, decided to delve into the mysterious world of Randonautica. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, they set their intention to death and let the app generate their coordinates. As they embarked on their journey, the atmosphere seemed to shift. The once lively neighborhood appeared gloomy and desolate, as if it were gripped by an eerie silence. Ignoring their growing unease, they pressed on, guided by the coordinates provided by Randonautica. Their path led them to an old, abandoned cemetery at the outskirts of town. The rusted iron gate creaked open, seemingly beckoning them inside. As they cautiously stepped through the gate, the air grew heavy, sending shivers down their spines. The surrounding gravestones stood like silent sentinels, bearing witness to the passage of time. Drawn deeper into the heart of the cemetery, Ashley and Billy stumbled upon a weathered tombstone, half covered in ivy. It bore the name of a person long forgotten, but what caught their attention was the unsettling inscription, "Death awaits those who dare to seek." Unease turned into full-blown fear, but curiosity pushed them to continue their exploration. Suddenly, a chilling wind swept through the graveyard, extinguishing their flashlights and leaving them in darkness. Panic seized them as they desperately tried to find their way back. In the pitch blackness, they heard whispers echoing through the tombstones, as if the spirits of the departed were murmuring ancient secrets. Shadows danced and flickered, creating macabre shapes that seemed to taunt them. Ashley and Billy's hearts pounded in their chests as they stumbled upon a crypt that exuded an otherworldly aura. Summoning their last reserves of courage, they stepped inside. The air grew frigid, and the crypt echoed with haunting whispers that seemed to draw closer. An overpowering sense of dread enveloped them, and the crypt's walls appeared to close in, trapping them within its confines. In a panic-stricken frenzy, Ashley and Billy desperately searched for an exit. Just as hope began to wane, they discovered a hidden passage obscured by layers of dust and decay. They clawed their way through, escaping the suffocating grip of the crypt. Gasping for breath, they emerged from the cemetery, their bodies trembling with a mixture of relief and terror. They vowed never to delve into the realms of darkness again, their Randonautica journey forever etched in their memories as a chilling encounter with the unknown. However, Ashley and Billy's tale serves as a cautionary reminder that intentions of such nature can lead to unexpected and potentially dangerous experiences. The line between curiosity and peril can be thin, and it's crucial to approach the unknown with respect and mindfulness. Driven by a shared sense of adventure, the father and son duo set out on their Randonautica expedition, unaware of the extraordinary events that lay ahead. Their intention sparked curiosity and anticipation as they eagerly awaited the coordinates that would guide their path. The app generated a location that led them to an isolated forest nestled far from the bustle of civilization. As they ventured deeper into the woods, an uncanny stillness settled upon the surroundings, as if nature itself held its breath. The rustling of leaves underfoot seemed to echo louder than usual, amplifying the eerie atmosphere. Guided by the app, they arrived at an ancient, dilapidated cabin, a relic lost to time. The structure stood weathered and forlorn, as if it had been forgotten by the world. The father and son exchanged uneasy glances, but their determination pushed them to investigate further. As they cautiously entered the cabin, an unsettling chill filled the air. Cobwebs clung to every corner, and a musty odor permeated the room, invoking a sense of lingering dread. They noticed an assortment of peculiar objects scattered about, old photographs, faded letters, and trinkets of a forgotten era. Their attention was drawn to a dusty, ornate chest sitting in the center of the cabin. Its presence seemed incongruous, as if it had been deliberately placed there to pique their curiosity. The father and son exchanged a nod, their mutual intrigue pushing them to uncover its secrets. With trembling hands, they opened the chest, revealing a collection of ancient artifacts. Among them, a delicate porcelain doll stood out, a stark contrast to the decaying surroundings. Its delicate features were frozen in a haunting smile that seemed to hold a secret. Unbeknownst to them, their innocent exploration had disturbed a long-dormant spirit. As they gazed upon the doll, a shiver ran down their spines. The atmosphere grew heavy, as if the cabin itself was alive with an unseen presence. Whispers filled the air, echoing in their ears with an urgent plea. Sudden movement caught their attention. A figure materialized before them, its form translucent and ethereal. The spirit's eyes held a mixture of sadness and longing. It became clear that the doll was an anchor, binding the spirit to this world, preventing it from finding peace. Filled with empathy and a desire to help, the father and son embarked on a quest to release the spirit from its lonely prison. Through research and perseverance, they discovered a forgotten ritual to break the doll's enchantment. On a moonlit night, they returned to the cabin, armed with ancient knowledge and hope in their hearts. They carefully performed the ritual, severing the connection between the spirit and the doll. As the final incantation left their lips, the spirit's form dissipated, fading into the night, liberated from its spectral shackles. With a sense of accomplishment and relief, the father and son left the cabin, forever changed by their encounter with the supernatural. Their Randonautica journey had inadvertently led them to a mission of compassion and redemption, teaching them the power of empathy and the courage to confront the unknown. Their story serves as a reminder that in the realm of the mysterious, intentions can lead to unforeseen encounters that challenge our beliefs and unveil hidden truths. It emphasizes the importance of empathy, respect, and a willingness to embrace the unexpected in our quest for discovery. Bruce and Todd, fueled by a shared curiosity for history and the allure of the past, set out on their Randonautica adventure in search of something ancient. Their youthful spirits yearned to unravel the mysteries of time as they eagerly awaited the coordinates that would guide their path. The app led them to a remote countryside where they stumbled upon an overgrown trail that seemed untouched by modernity. Pushing through the dense foliage, they found themselves standing before the imposing entrance of an ancient cave, hidden away from prying eyes for centuries. Undeterred by the darkness that lay ahead, Bruce and Todd equipped themselves with flashlights and ventured into the depths of the cavern. As they stepped deeper into the underground labyrinth, a hushed silence settled, broken only by the echoing sound of their footsteps. The air grew cool and damp, carrying with it a sense of time's weight. Stalactites and stalagmites adorned the cave walls, like frozen sentinels that bore witness to the passage of millennia. The rhythmic drip of water echoed throughout, a reminder of the ever-changing nature of the world. Guided by an unspoken bond of camaraderie, the friends discovered a hidden chamber deep within the cave. Illuminated by their flashlights, they beheld a sight that left them awestruck, a collection of ancient artifacts scattered across a stone altar. Among the relics, they found a weathered tome, its pages filled with symbols and glyphs that hinted at forgotten knowledge and ancient rituals. The words seemed to call out to them, urging them to decipher the secrets of the past. With a shared thirst for understanding, Bruce and Todd delved into the text, translating the ancient script as if it were a key to a long-lost civilization. The words unraveled tales of forgotten kingdoms, mythical creatures, and the wisdom of ancient sages. As they absorbed the wisdom of the ages, the chamber seemed to come alive. Rays of sunlight filtered through hidden cracks, illuminating murals that depicted the triumphs and tragedies of a forgotten era. The friends found themselves transported to a time long gone, where legends and history converged. Guided by the wisdom they had acquired, Bruce and Todd vowed to honor the ancient teachings. They emerged from the cave, forever transformed by their encounter with the past. Their Randonautica journey had transcended the boundaries of time, unlocking a deeper understanding of the world and their place within it. Bruce and Todd's story serves as a reminder of the profound connection we share with history. It highlights the power of curiosity and the joy of discovery, as well as the importance of preserving and honoring the knowledge passed down by our ancestors. Through their journey, they discovered that the echoes of the ancients still resonate within us, shaping who we are and guiding us towards the future. Moth, a young goth girl with an affinity for the macabre, had always been drawn to the enigmatic and paranormal. Eager to explore the boundaries of the unknown, she embarked on a Randonautica journey with the intention of encountering something haunted. As the app generated the coordinates, Moth's heart quickened with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The path led her to a decaying Victorian mansion, tucked away in a remote part of the town. Its dilapidated facade exuded an eerie charm, captivating her dark imagination. Undeterred by the ominous aura that enveloped the place, Moth stepped through the mansion's creaking front doors, the scent of dampness and decay filling her senses. The interior was a labyrinth of forgotten hallways and shadowy rooms, each whispering their own tales of bygone days. Guided by an unseen force, she found herself in a grand ballroom, once adorned with opulence but now shrouded in darkness. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she noticed a worn-out chandelier swaying eerily above, casting dancing shadows across the room. A chill settled upon her as whispers permeated the air, faint echoes of conversations from a distant era. Moth's heart raced with a mix of fascination and unease, but her curiosity urged her forward. Exploring further, she stumbled upon a dusty library, its shelves lined with tattered volumes that seemed frozen in time. As she reached out to touch an old leather-bound book, a gust of wind swept through the room, causing the pages to rustle as if beckoning her to uncover their secrets. Among the books, she discovered a weathered diary, its pages filled with the haunting accounts of a former resident. The entries detailed unexplained phenomena, ghostly apparitions, and the torment of a lost soul longing for release. Intrigued and somewhat unnerved, Moth followed the diary's cryptic clues, leading her to a hidden chamber concealed behind a tapestry. As she entered, the atmosphere grew thick with an otherworldly presence, tangible and suffocating. Within the chamber, she found an antique music box, its melody playing softly in the dimness. Mesmerized, she wound the delicate mechanism, and the room filled with hauntingly beautiful notes that seemed to echo through the depths of her soul. As the melody reached its crescendo, the room was engulfed in a swirl of glowing mist. A spectral figure materialized before her, bearing the weight of a tragic past. It spoke in hushed whispers, sharing its sorrow and yearning for peace. Moved by empathy and a sense of kinship with the spectral being, Moth offered solace and understanding. Together, they embarked on a journey of healing and closure, delving into the spirit's past and eventually guiding it towards the light. As the spirit dissipated, leaving behind a sense of tranquility, Moth emerged from the mansion, forever transformed by her encounter with the haunted. Her Randonautica journey had transcended the realm of mere curiosity, revealing the depths of compassion and the power of connecting with the supernatural. Moth's story reminds us that exploring the haunted can lead to unexpected bonds and transformative experiences. It underscores the significance of embracing the shadows within ourselves and others, fostering empathy and understanding in the face of the unknown. Margaret, a middle-aged mother, carried the weight of loneliness and heartache within her. Seeking solace and perhaps a glimmer of hope, she turned to Randonautica, setting her intention to find something broken. As the app generated the coordinates, Margaret's weary heart stirred with a mix of trepidation and curiosity. The journey led her to a forgotten part of town, where dilapidated buildings stood as monuments to neglect. The streets echoed with a melancholic silence, mirroring the isolation she felt within. With hesitant steps, Margaret found herself standing before an abandoned, weather-beaten house. Its crumbling facade mirrored the fractures within her own soul. The sight resonated with her, drawing her closer to the notion of finding solace in shared brokenness. As she ventured into the house, the scent of decay and abandonment filled her senses, echoing the desolation she carried within. Each creaking floorboard whispered tales of forgotten dreams and shattered hopes. Shadows danced, casting a solemn ambience that mirrored her own emotional landscape. Guided by an unseen force, Margaret discovered a room adorned with fragments of shattered pottery. Each shard told a story, a testament to the beauty that once existed and the pain of its destruction. With a tender touch, she traced her fingers along the jagged edges, feeling a strange kinship with the broken pieces. In the midst of this somber room, Margaret's perspective began to shift. She realized that brokenness does not define an end but rather offers an opportunity for healing and renewal. Just as the shards of pottery could be mended into a mosaic of beauty, she recognized the potential for growth within herself. Embracing her vulnerability, Margaret embarked on a journey of self-discovery and healing. She sought out support and reached out to others who carried their own scars, forging connections and fostering a sense of belonging. Over time, Margaret realized that the process of healing is not linear, and scars may still linger, but they can serve as reminders of strength and resilience. She found solace in knowing that despite the fractures she had endured, there was still beauty and hope in her life. Margaret's Randonautica journey became a catalyst for transformation, reminding her that even in the depths of brokenness, there is the potential for growth, connection, and healing. Her story serves as a poignant reminder that our shattered pieces can be mended, and within our shared brokenness lies the opportunity to find strength, resilience, and a renewed sense of purpose.
Throughout history, there have been numerous haunted doll stories that have captivated people's imaginations and sparked tales of supernatural occurrences. Here are a few well-known haunted doll stories. Perhaps the most famous haunted doll, Annabelle, gained notoriety through the Conjuring film series. The real Annabelle doll is a Raggedy Ann doll that was supposedly possessed by the spirit of a deceased girl. It is now housed in a special case at the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut. Robert the Doll is an eerie-looking doll that belonged to artist Robert Eugene Otto. According to the legend, the doll had supernatural powers and would move on its own, change expressions, and even speak. It is said to have caused misfortune and tragedy to those who disrespected it. Robert the Doll can be found on display at the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. Mandy is a porcelain doll that resides in the Canal Museum in British Columbia, Canada. Legend has it that the doll is haunted by the spirit of a little girl who died in a house fire. Visitors have reported witnessing the doll moving, changing positions, and even blinking. The Okiku doll is a traditional Japanese doll with hair that is said to grow. The doll was initially purchased in 1918 by a young boy, and after the boy's death, his family noticed that the doll's hair had grown significantly. It is believed that the spirit of the boy resides within the doll. The Okiku doll is currently housed at the Menenji Temple in Iwamizawa, Japan. Letta is a doll that allegedly possesses a malevolent spirit. It was found buried in a box in the basement of a home in Australia. The doll has been reported to cause eerie occurrences, such as strange noises and objects moving on their own. Some claim that Letta emits a feeling of malevolence. The doll is currently stored in an undisclosed location. Peggy is a haunted doll owned by paranormal investigator Jane Harris. Many people who have come into contact with the doll have reported experiencing various physical and psychological effects, such as dizziness, chest pain, and nightmares. Some even claim to have received mysterious phone calls after encountering Peggy. She is known for being one of the most haunted dolls in the world. Joliet is an antique porcelain doll that is rumored to be possessed by a vengeful spirit. The doll is said to cause disturbances, such as objects moving or being thrown, and eerie laughter. It is currently housed at the Haunted Museum in the UK. Pupa is a cursed doll with a tragic backstory. It is believed that the doll brings misfortune and even death to those who own it. Pupa is said to have caused the deaths of several of its owners throughout the years. The doll is currently locked away in a glass case in a museum in Italy. Harold is a supposedly haunted doll known for causing strange occurrences and misfortunes to those who come into contact with it. It is said to move on its own and has been associated with mysterious happenings, including unexplained scratches and disturbances in the environment. Harold is now owned by paranormal investigator Anthony Quinata. Christina is a vintage porcelain doll that has gained a reputation for causing paranormal activity. The doll is believed to have a spirit attached to it, and some people claim to have seen the doll's eyes follow them or witnessed it moving on its own. Christina is currently housed at the Old Melbourne Jail in Australia. These are just a few examples of the haunted doll stories that have circulated over the years. Remember, the veracity of these claims is often disputed, but they continue to captivate the imagination and spark interest in the supernatural. Another eerie phenomenon is known as doll islands or doll forests. These are real locations where people have discovered collections of discarded or mutilated dolls, often in eerie and unsettling settings. Here are a couple of notable examples. Located in the Xochimilco canals near Mexico City, Isla de las Muñecas is a small island covered in decaying dolls. The story behind it involves a man named Don Julian Santana, who began hanging dolls on the island after discovering the body of a drowned girl. He believed the dolls would protect him from evil spirits. The island has become a tourist attraction and is known for its creepy ambience. Nagoro is a remote village in Japan that has gained attention for its abundance of dolls. The village's population has significantly declined over the years, and a local artist named Ayano Tsukimi began creating and placing dolls throughout the village as a way to remember the departed residents. The dolls are made to resemble the former inhabitants and can be found in various poses and settings, resulting in an eerie and surreal atmosphere. These locations, with their numerous discarded dolls, have a haunting and unsettling effect on visitors, often evoking feelings of unease and mystery. While the intent behind these collections may vary, they have become intriguing destinations for those seeking a unique and eerie experience.
Allow me to introduce you to a chilling character known as Harlequin the Grave Jester. Legend has it that deep within an ancient cemetery, shrouded in darkness and mystery, resides Harlequin, a malevolent clown of supernatural origins. Harlequin's origins are shrouded in enigma, with no clear records of his existence before his haunting presence was felt within the graveyard's confines. According to the eerie tales, Harlequin was once an ordinary circus performer, known for his exceptional acrobatic skills and comedic timing. However, during a fateful performance, tragedy struck. One stormy night, as Harlequin took center stage, an unfortunate accident occurred, resulting in his untimely demise. The circumstances surrounding his death remain obscure, but it is rumored that his fellow circus members were involved. From the moment of his tragic passing, Harlequin's spirit was said to have been trapped within the grounds of the very cemetery where he was laid to rest. His restless soul underwent a transformation, taking on an otherworldly, grotesque appearance that bore little resemblance to his former jolly clown persona. His face became pale, stretched into a wide, macabre grin, accentuated by blackened, sunken eyes and menacingly sharp teeth. His once colorful attire was replaced with tattered, blood-stained garments, further emphasizing his disturbing presence. Harlequin is known for his mischievous nature, using his supernatural abilities to terrorize any unfortunate souls who dare to venture into the cemetery after dark. With an eerie cackle echoing through the tombstones, he emerges from the shadows, haunting his victims' dreams and driving them to madness. Witnesses speak of his unsettling agility as he effortlessly glides through the graves, his elongated limbs contorting with each ominous step. Legend has it that Harlequin has the power to manipulate the deceased, bending them to his will. Whispers circulate among those who have survived his encounters, claiming that the unfortunate souls buried beneath the cemetery awaken under Harlequin's control, becoming his ghastly minions, forever bound to serve his dark purpose. Many stories and accounts have emerged over the years, recounting encounters with Harlequin, but survivors often suffer from a crippling fear that renders them incapable of speaking about their experience. As a result, Harlequin remains a cryptic figure, an urban legend that haunts the imaginations of those who have heard the unsettling tales. So, beware the nightfall when visiting the cemetery, for Harlequin the Grave Jester lurks within, waiting for his next victim to stumble into his nightmarish domain.
The old, dilapidated house stood at the end of a desolate street, its broken windows staring out like hollow eyes. Rumors had circulated for years about the eerie happenings within those decaying walls, but nobody dared to venture close after sunset. Except for 5 curious teenagers. One gloomy evening, Sarah, Mark, Emily, David, and Lisa gathered outside the infamous house. Their adrenaline-fueled curiosity pushed them forward, disregarding the warnings of locals who claimed the place was cursed. With shaky hands, Sarah pushed open the creaking front door, revealing a pitch-black interior. The stale air wrapped around their bodies like a suffocating shroud as they stepped inside. Armed with flashlights, they cautiously explored each room, their nerves on edge. The flickering beams illuminated dusty furniture and faded wallpaper peeling from the walls. The atmosphere grew colder, and a sense of foreboding filled their hearts. It was as if the house itself were alive, watching their every move. In the dim light, they stumbled upon a secret cellar hidden beneath a rotting wooden trapdoor. Curiosity overwhelmed caution, and they descended into the abyss. The staircase groaned under their weight, and the air grew heavy with a musty scent. In the cellar's depths, they found an eerie sight, an assortment of antique dolls, their eyes void of life, arranged in a circle. The dolls' presence sent shivers down their spines, but their morbid fascination kept them rooted in place. As the minutes ticked by, strange whispers echoed through the cellar. The whispers grew louder, filled with incomprehensible words that burrowed deep into their minds. Panic set in, and they scrambled to escape the oppressive chamber, stumbling up the stairs and back into the main house. But something had changed. The doors that once led to freedom were now sealed shut, trapping them inside the nightmare. Their heartbeats pounded in their ears as they desperately searched for an alternative exit. The house seemed to mock their attempts, shifting its layout, leading them into an ever-changing labyrinth. Exhausted and terrified, they huddled together in a corner, clinging to the hope that dawn would break their torment. But time lost meaning within those walls, and darkness clung to the house like a permanent shroud. Days turned into weeks, and the world outside moved on, oblivious to the fate of the trapped teenagers. The once curious explorers were now broken souls, shadows of their former selves. They lived in constant fear, haunted by the dolls' whispers that echoed ceaselessly in their minds. One day, when the last flicker of hope had faded, the whispers grew deafening. The dolls in the cellar had claimed their final victory. And as the echoes of the teenagers' screams faded into silence, the house stood, forever cursed.
The wind howled through the empty streets as Ophelia hurried home from school. Dark clouds loomed overhead, casting a shadow over her restless mind. It had been 5 long years since her twin sister, Margot, had tragically passed away. The pain had never truly subsided, and every day seemed like a struggle to move forward. As Ophelia reached her front porch, she noticed a small package nestled there, as if it had been waiting for her. Curiosity mingled with trepidation as she picked up the package and examined it. The familiar handwriting on the label made her heart skip a beat. It was from Margot. How could that be? A shiver crawled up Ophelia's spine as she cautiously unwrapped the package, revealing a pendant, the very same pendant that Margot had been buried with. Her hands trembled as she held the pendant, memories of Margot flooding her mind. They had each possessed one identical pendant, a symbol of their unbreakable bond. Ophelia had never taken hers off since Margot's passing, clinging to it as a tangible connection to her beloved sister. But how had Margot's pendant found its way back to her? A folded piece of paper fell from the package, and Ophelia unfolded it with shaking hands. The words, penned in the same familiar handwriting, sent a chill down her spine, activate by chanting, "Sisters forever." Ophelia's heart raced with a mix of fear and longing. She had to know what this meant, what Margot was trying to communicate from beyond the grave. A whisper of doubt crept into her thoughts. Was it all just an elaborate hoax? But deep down, Ophelia couldn't ignore the bond she had shared with her twin sister. Summoning her courage, Ophelia clutched the pendant tightly and spoke the words, her voice quivering with uncertainty. "Sisters forever." As soon as the words escaped her lips, a gust of wind swirled around her, causing the trees to rustle ominously. The pendant in her hand grew warm, pulsating with an otherworldly energy. Ophelia's eyes widened in disbelief as the pendant split open, revealing a tiny compartment inside. Inside the compartment, a faded photograph of Margot and Ophelia smiled back at her, their arms wrapped around each other. A feeling of both joy and sorrow washed over Ophelia as tears welled up in her eyes. It was as if Margot was present, her spirit reaching out to her. But the atmosphere suddenly shifted. The wind turned bitter, and a coldness settled in the air. Ophelia's breath hitched as the pendant's glow intensified, casting an eerie light upon her face. The photograph morphed, the smiles twisting into malicious grins. Ophelia's heart pounded in her chest as she felt an invisible force tugging at her, pulling her deeper into an unknown realm. Terrifying images flashed before her eyes, a desolate graveyard, twisted figures lurking in the shadows, and a sinister laughter echoing through the darkness. Panic overwhelmed her, but she couldn't escape the nightmarish reality that surrounded her. She had unleashed something dark and unforeseen. Desperate to break free from the clutches of the pendant's power, Ophelia called out to Margot's spirit. "Please, Margot. Help me. I didn't mean to bring this darkness upon us." Suddenly, a gentle breeze enveloped her, and the nightmarish visions dissipated. Ophelia found herself back on her front porch, the pendant lying innocently in her trembling hand. The glow had subsided, leaving only a faint warmth behind. Tears streamed down her face as she realized. Trembling, Ophelia clutched the pendant tightly, her mind reeling from the harrowing experience. She couldn't deny the danger that lurked within the necklace, the dark forces it had unleashed. Yet, in the depths of her heart, she still yearned for a connection with her beloved sister. Determined to uncover the truth behind Margot's message and the pendant's power, Ophelia embarked on a quest for answers. She delved into ancient texts and sought the guidance of wise individuals well-versed in the supernatural. It became evident that the pendant held a link to a realm of spirits, and Ophelia's chanting had inadvertently opened a portal to that realm. Guided by newfound knowledge, Ophelia discovered a ritual that could potentially close the portal and sever the connection with the malevolent forces. It required her to return to the place where Margot had been laid to rest, the very spot where their lives had diverged so tragically. Under the cover of darkness, Ophelia made her way to the cemetery. The air was heavy with an eerie stillness, and her steps echoed through the silence. The pendant hung around her neck, its weight a constant reminder of the dangerous journey she was about to undertake. Arriving at Margot's grave, Ophelia's heart wrenched with grief. The pain of losing her twin sister resurfaced, but she knew she had to confront the darkness that had intertwined with their bond. With resolute determination, she took a deep breath and began the ritual. Chanting the ancient incantation she had uncovered, Ophelia called upon the spirits, beseeching them to hear her plea. She spoke of her love for Margot and her desire to sever the connection that had become tainted with malevolence. As she recited the words, the pendant grew warm against her skin, its glow intensifying. A swirl of energy enveloped the graveyard, and Ophelia watched in awe as a spectral figure emerged from the darkness, a manifestation of Margot's spirit. Tears welled in Ophelia's eyes as she saw her sister once again, a bittersweet reunion. Margot's form spoke, her voice filled with a mixture of sorrow and remorse. She revealed that the pendant had become a conduit for the restless souls trapped in the spirit realm, drawn to the bond between the twins. The necklace had inadvertently amplified their anguish and transformed it into something malicious. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Margot pledged to aid Ophelia in closing the portal. Their bond, though tested by darkness, still held a glimmer of the love and connection they had shared in life. Together, they performed the final steps of the ritual, their voices entwined in a powerful harmony. As the last words echoed through the night, the pendant shattered into countless pieces, releasing a blinding burst of light. The spectral figures that had plagued Ophelia dissipated, vanishing into the ether. The portal closed, severing the connection between the realms. Exhausted yet relieved, Ophelia and Margot embraced one last time. Their spirits intertwined, the lingering darkness finally expelled. Margot's form began to fade, but her voice lingered, whispering words of love and gratitude. Ophelia knew that her sister's spirit had found peace, finally liberated from the malevolent forces that had ensnared her. With a heavy heart and newfound closure, Ophelia returned home. She laid the shattered remains of the pendant to rest, a symbol of the sacrifices they had made to restore harmony. The memory of her twin sister, Margot, would forever live on in her heart, a testament to their unbreakable bond. From that day forward, Ophelia carried the lessons she had learned with her, embracing life with a renewed appreciation for the fragile nature of existence. The experiences she had endured had transformed her, instilling in her a sense of resilience and a deeper understanding of the complexities of the spirit realm. Ophelia found solace in sharing her story, using her newfound knowledge to help others who were plagued by supernatural disturbances. She became a beacon of light in the darkness, offering guidance and support to those in need. Her journey had not only reconnected her with her sister but also awakened within her a calling to protect and heal. As the years passed, Ophelia's tale became the stuff of local legends, a reminder that love transcends death and that the bonds between siblings can endure even in the face of unimaginable darkness. The pendant, now a shattered relic, became a symbol of hope and redemption, displayed in a place of honor in Ophelia's home. Though the pain of losing Margot would never completely fade, Ophelia found comfort in the knowledge that they had overcome the malevolence that had threatened to consume them. In her heart, she knew that Margot's spirit would forever watch over her, a silent guardian guiding her through life's challenges. And as Ophelia gazed at the stars on quiet nights, she would often imagine Margot among them, a radiant light guiding her steps and reminding her that their bond was eternal.
Ghost stories have captivated people's imaginations for centuries. While it's difficult to prove the truth behind these tales, they have been passed down through generations and continue to intrigue believers and skeptics alike. Here are a few true ghost stories from around the world. The Bell Witch haunting is one of the most famous ghost stories in American folklore. It is said to have occurred in the early 19th century in Tennessee. The spirit allegedly tormented the Bell family for years, making eerie sounds, interacting with family members, and even causing the death of John Bell. Hampton Court Palace, located near London, is rumoured to be haunted by the ghost of Catherine Howard, the fifth wife of King Henry VIII. Known as the Grey Lady, her spirit has been sighted in the palace's corridors, often accompanied by the scent of perfume. Considered one of the most haunted houses in America, the Myrtles Plantation in Louisiana is said to be inhabited by several spirits. One of the most famous ghost stories associated with the plantation is that of Chloe, a slave girl who was reportedly hanged for poisoning the family. Visitors have reported seeing her apparition and hearing strange sounds throughout the property. Located at the base of Mount Fuji, Akigahara Forest is notorious for its association with death and paranormal activity. It is believed to be haunted by the souls of those who died tragically or committed suicide within its boundaries. Visitors have reported feelings of unease, strange sounds, and apparitions while exploring the forest. The Whaley House, located in San Diego, California, is believed to be haunted by the spirits of the Whaley family, who once lived there. Visitors have reported seeing apparitions, hearing footsteps, and experiencing inexplicable cold spots. The house is now a museum and continues to attract ghost enthusiasts. The Tower of London, a historic castle in London, is notorious for its ghostly inhabitants. The most famous ghost associated with the tower is Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII. Her headless apparition has been sighted in various parts of the tower. Other reported ghosts include the princes in the tower and the White Lady. Located near Niagara Falls in Ontario, Canada, the Screaming Tunnel is said to be haunted by the ghost of a young girl who died in a fire. Legend has it that if you light a match inside the tunnel, the girl's spirit will scream. Visitors have reported hearing eerie screams and experiencing a sense of unease while inside the tunnel. Dragsholm Castle, a 13th century castle in Denmark, is rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the country. It is said to be haunted by several spirits, including the Grey Lady, a former maid who was walled up alive within the castle. Guests and staff have reported encountering her ghostly apparition throughout the castle. Located in Junee, New South Wales, the Monte Cristo homestead is known as Australia's most haunted house. The property has a dark history with tales of tragic deaths and mysterious occurrences. Visitors and residents have reported strange noises, apparitions, and unexplained events, adding to its reputation as a haunted location. Bangor Fort, located in Rajasthan, India, is known as one of the most haunted places in the country. Legend has it that a curse was placed on the fort, leading to its abandonment. Visitors are prohibited from entering the fort after sunset due to the belief that the area becomes a hub of paranormal activity. Rainham Hall, a country house in Norfolk, England, is known for the ghostly apparition of a lady in a brown dress. The photograph taken in 1936 by Captain Hubert C. Provand and Indri Shira became one of the most famous ghost photos ever captured. Witnesses have reported sightings of the brown lady for centuries. The Château de Brissac, located in the Loire Valley of France, is said to be haunted by the spirit of the Green Lady. According to legend, the Green Lady was the illegitimate daughter of King Charles VII. She was murdered by her husband in a fit of jealousy and now wanders the halls of the castle. Once again, the Tower of London is no stranger to ghostly tales. Another notable ghost said to haunt the tower is that of Sir Walter Raleigh. His ghost is often seen in the Bywood Tower, with reports of a strange glowing light and the sound of his footsteps echoing through the halls. The Tower of London's resident ravens are believed to be guardians of the realm. Legend has it that if the ravens ever leave the tower, the kingdom will fall. Visitors have reported seeing ghostly figures of ravens and hearing their eerie cries, adding to the mystical atmosphere of the tower. The Old Changi Hospital, a former military hospital in Singapore, is known for its paranormal activity. It is rumored to be haunted by the spirits of those who suffered and died during World War II. Visitors have reported hearing cries, disembodied voices, and witnessing shadowy figures throughout the abandoned building. Bettiscombe Manor in Dorset, England, is home to the Screaming Skull, a peculiar legend. It is said that if anyone tries to remove the skull from the manor, they will be plagued with misfortune and haunting. Over the years, several attempts have been made to relocate the skull, and each time strange occurrences followed. The Palace of Versailles in France is renowned for its opulence and history. It is believed to be haunted by the ghost of Marie Antoinette, the last Queen of France. Visitors have claimed to see her apparition roaming the halls and gardens of the palace. The old rectory in Borley, England, was once known as the most haunted house in England. Various paranormal occurrences, including ghostly apparitions, footsteps, and poltergeist activity, have been reported by residents and investigators over the years. The Bell Rock Lighthouse, located off the east coast of Scotland, has a ghostly tale associated with it. The ghost of a lighthouse keeper, who died during the construction of the lighthouse in the early 19th century, is said to haunt the structure. His apparition has been witnessed by lighthouse keepers and visitors alike. The RMS Queen Mary, a retired ocean liner turned hotel in California, has a reputation for being haunted. Ghostly sightings and unexplained phenomena have been reported throughout the ship, including the presence of a little girl, a sailor, and a woman in a white dress. These are just a few examples of the many ghost stories and haunted locations around the world. Each one has its own unique history and eerie tales that continue to captivate those with an interest in the supernatural. They offer a glimpse into the mysterious and sometimes eerie aspects of famous locations around the world. Whether you enjoy the thrill of ghost stories or appreciate the historical and cultural aspects behind them, they have a way of capturing our imaginations and keeping us intrigued by the supernatural.